Yo, what's good, y'all? Welcome to this week's episode of Talks with Taboo. Welcome to this week's episode of the podcast. Hope you're having a great week. I'm doing fantastic. I have all the month of July off of shows, so I'm just spending this time to write my next body of work, write all out of music, man. It's going really good. Just going to write music, hang out with family, crush broods, fuck dudes, catch some fish, and suck some dicks. You already know what it is, fam. You know what I'm speaking? But we got a great episode this week with one of the most interesting people I've had on the show, man. I've seen this guy a lot on the internet. He's been putting out a lot of heats lately, a lot of fucking hits, man, straight up hits, working with a lot of really big names. And he's pretty new to the bass world, but he's deeply embedded in the hip-hop world. And I didn't know a lot of that. You know, he's toured and worked with people like Mac Miller, Migos, Young Thug, Riff Raff, all them good people, man. We talk a lot about that. I learn about this guy and his crazy-ass career. We had a great conversation. Had a lot of fun with this episode, getting to know this dude, and I hope y'all do as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. DJ Afterthought.
Come here, girl, 'cause that ass fat. Let me take my tongue and go around your dirt track. I met a girl and her booty tastes like strawberries. I swear to God, this could be the one that I'm marrying. Hey, hey, and she's so different. I made that from behind. I met a girl and her booty tastes like strawberries.
Hey, the name's Mitch. You know, I don't. You know, you and I don't believe you and I have ever met before.
No, not yet. My name's Ryan.
Ryan, nice to meet you, brother.
Nice to meet you too, man.
Appreciate
Thank you for having me, bro.
Man, appreciate you coming on the show, dude. You're a guy who I've learned about probably like in the last year, who I started seeing your name a lot more. And the more I look into you, it gets more and more interesting. So I'm glad we were able to do this today because I had some questions, bro. Some questions.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm sure I can answer lots of them.
Before we even get into it, how are you doing today? Did I ask that? Did I ask
I'm doing pretty good, man. I just got back from Philly. Did some stuff with Shizlo and worked in a couple studios. So just got back, but chilling, getting ready for this weekend.
I love Shizlo's manager.
What'd you say?
I love Shizlo's manager.
I have not met Shizlo's manager yet.
Yeah, she's the shit, dude. She's awesome.
What's her name?
Don't put me on the spot like that, dog.
Is her name
Is it
Emma?
Nicole? I think it's Nicole, maybe.
Nicole?
Yeah.
I don't think that I met her yet.
Yeah,
I was going to say if it's the other one, then I did, but I don't think I met her.
Well, where you at right now? If you back from Philly, where you reside?
I'm in Pittsburgh. This is where I live full time, but always in and out, obviously, like the rest of us.
You a Steelers fan?
I'm not. I'm a Giants fan.
Giants fan. Okay. How's Daniel going to do this year? Is he going to trip over his own fucking feet?
Bro, he just went from one like ridiculous goofy white quarterback to to like I mean, he might as well just be a white guy too, but I mean, I just hope Saquon can come back and do something and our defense gets better because he's not bringing us to any Super Bowls anytime soon.
He might, dude. He might just fucking trip right before it.
The immaculate, another crazy Super Bowl catch, but it's just him like tumbling into the end zone.
Dude, I watched that live and was in fucking tears. And it was funny seeing like the Giants, like his own teammates were laughing their ass off. Like they weren't even upset that he didn't get the touchdown. They were just laughing his goofy ass, dog.
Dude, I watched it live too, and I just like I think I was somewhere too. I was like at somewhere, and I just I'm like talking shit, the whole time.
Yeah.
And that happens, and I'm like, man. And then the Eli jokes come, obviously, and we had to endure so many years of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, man, can we just get like a really athletic quarterback this time?
Right, dude. Just go get Deshaun Watson. You're like, all right. We don't listen. We know he's got lawsuits, but you know what? He ain't gonna trip.
I swear, I would honestly take that at this point.
Oh man, it's always nice meeting other DJs who are like big into football too. Like I love sports, but like football, I fuck with so heavy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I just grew up watching football like with my family, and I grew up playing hockey. So those are the only two sports that I really like.
Hell yeah,
care
dude.
about.
So, I ain't ever watched a hockey game or been to one, dude, because I'm from Mississippi and we ain't got hockey, man. As much you know what I mean. Like we don't even have an ice skating ring, dude.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely I'm happy that it's kind of expanded because when I grew up in New Jersey, in like northern Jersey, and there was just hockey all around, right? Like we had rinks everywhere. So, living in that little bubble and not really leaving all that much for like 16 years, except to go on little vacations or whatever. I didn't realize, I thought everywhere was like that. I was just like, I had no idea. So
it ain't, bro. They try to have an ice skating ring where I'm from. That shit melts. Like, okay, we don't know what to do, man. We just don't know what to do.
We don't know how to do it.
Yeah, we can't do this here. We'll just give them some rollerblades and some guns.
But some of these like SEC schools are starting to have really, really dope hockey programs. So it's actually kind of cool to see. Yeah, like there's some University of Alabama something. I forget what school it is, but they crush, bro. Like they're really good. There's some schools in Texas. There's a couple Florida schools. There's a school in South Carolina that's like stupid good. And I think that one's like a South Carolina something.
Well, dude, so you just taught me something.
They're like D1 teams.
You literally just taught me something. I didn't know that. I didn't know that there was hockey in college. I didn't know that was literally. I didn't know there was hockey. Yeah. College hockey. I didn't know.
There's club hockey, which is kind of like more like any club team for whatever sport. It's more hobbyist kind of thing. And then there's D1, D2, D3, and then there's stuff in there. So it's pretty big. I
could probably get into it. I like it takes me just to experience something, and then I'm hooked. I'm like, cool, I'm into this now,
So it's kind of like, so I'll bring it to your maybe a little bit more in your neck of the woods, but forever I would see NASCAR races, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, I'm from Jersey, so I just had this stupid, like, it's just a bunch of rednecks and, some crazy stuff. And then, bro, I went to a NASCAR race, and I had the best time ever.
It's so much fun, bro.
So I was just like, all right, well, but it's kind of the same thing. I bring people to hockey games all the time, and especially like a pro game, and it's just so fast and action packed. And they're like, "This is a hockey game," and I'm like, "Bro, this is this is as good as it gets for me." Yep. It's just action, fight, action.
You said what everybody who's ever been to a NASCAR race said. They're just like, I went, and I was just like, holy shit, this is awesome. It's just a party, bro.
We went to all like the pre stuff and all that too. And then I remember, I'll never forget this. We're in Darlington Speedway, and we were walking in, and my buddy and his dad were holding like a pony keg, and they were like, each had one hand on, one side. And I'm like walking behind them. And I'm like, where the fuck are they going with this keg? Like, what is happening? And we keep walking right up to the gate, give them our tickets, and they just walk right in with this keg. And I was just like, all right, man, I can get down with this.
Yeah, it's going to be a party, dude. Imagine if festivals were like that, dude. And you can do them in the campsites, but like walking into a music, like through the camping gates with just a fucking keg, man.
Tons of wooks with CO2 just
CO2, dude. They have a nitrous in that bitch. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I mean, nitrous.
They have a nitrous in that motherfucker.
Yeah, just huge tank. I saw Blunts and Blunts was walking around at Forbidden just with a tank. And I was like, it was a backpack tank.
Oh, dude, that's some white trash engineering right there, dude. It's like what I like to call it.
It was wild. I think it was like a backpack made for that. It was so wild. I was like, what is this? That's next level.
That could be a fun top, dude. That sounds like fun.
So a bunch of people just following him around.
Yeah, dude, you follow the tank. You know what I mean?
Ridiculous.
Unspoken rule. But look, man, so I've been seeing, your name popping up a lot in the bass music world. And the more I look into you, your hands are in multiple things, dude. You have hits, right? Like, you've produced tracks for, like, fucking hit artists. Like, explain this to me, because, like I said, I'm just now learning about you, and, like, you see you posting, like, all right, you're in these dope studios, you're working with all these, big names, making hits. I'm like, all right, what is this? Like, was that what you got into before the electronic thing, or was it just,
So, I kind of just, like, I was always into music. I lived, like, right basically catty corner to Les Paul pretty much my whole life, and my dad was into like a lot of different music, and then I grew up in North Jersey, so hip hop. Like, I'm 34, so like I'm a little bit older. And...
Bro, you look great, man. You look great for 34.
Thanks. But I I grew up with like Hot 97, but I also grew up with like classic rock with my dad, and then also like K rock, which is all like the 90s, alternative stuff. And it was all, I got to hear it all because we had all the New York City stations. So like everything would get premiered there. So I just listened to a ton of different types of music and just always loved it. But I was really into hockey. Like I played a lot of hockey, and I never was in band, or I played like trumpet when I was like younger, and piano and stuff, but never got to really do it how I wanted to. So when I got to college, I went to North Carolina for like 2 years at a business degree, and I hated it. I loved college, but I was just like, man, this isn't like, what am I doing?
What part of North Carolina is that in?
Greensboro. So
Okay,
I went to Greensboro College for a semester. Then I went to UNCG, and then I transferred to Chapel Hill for my last part of it. But the whole time I was trying to get into CRAS, like Conservatory Recording Arts, and that's in Tempe, or in right outside of Tempe. But I couldn't get in. Like they only take like 20 some kids a year or something at that point, and I couldn't get in. I didn't want to go to Full Sail. I went for like their little tour, and I was like, this is so much like extra shit going on that I just didn't want to be in like a big classroom with tons of people and all that. So I kept trying. They didn't even respond to me. And finally I got Les Paul somehow to write like a letter for me. And he wrote a letter. I got in, I transferred to ASU, went there, did that stuff, went out to California, interned for for Ocean Way and for Interscope, and was just flat broke. And I was like, I can't keep sustaining this, flat brokeness. I can't like make it through and just kind of like slide along. So I moved back out to the East Coast, to WVU, to try and get my master's. And like a weekend, I was like, fuck this. I'm not doing this shit. It's too expensive. I don't want to do it. So I started taking like live sound gigs. And what happened was the DJs would always not show up. Like they would just be college kids.
What? Dude, they sound like rappers. What are you talking about?
Bro, it was, this is like what, 2008, 2009-ish, somewhere around there.
Long
and like,
time ago, yeah.
So like there wasn't really too many EDM producer DJs yet, right? So like it was the scene wasn't there yet, and it was just like college like frat bros, right, that would just go and like DJ, and it's just just throwing on like virtual DJ or whatever. And then you had like the super vinyl like Technic heads who are super like in depth with it, and they wouldn't show up. So one day we had a huge tent thing outside of the football stadium, and I'm doing live sound, and my boss comes up to me and he's like, man, this dude canceled. And there's like 10 minutes until this dude's supposed to go on. And he's like, he said he was on his way. Now he's saying he can't make it. He's not answering, blah, blah. And I was like, dude, I have virtual DJ on my computer, and like I have music. I can just play it. And I'm thinking I'm going to just play music from the board, from like front of house, right? And just like play music. This dude walks up on, he's like, oh, that was an afterthought. I forgot that you can probably play stuff, whatever. So he walks up on stage like 5 minutes later in front of thousands of people. And he's like, everybody make some noise for DJ Afterthought. And I like look at this dude like, what? And then he's like, yeah, come on up. I'm like, bro, no board, no controller, no decks,
just computer,
no nothing.
dude.
Just
how many people?
Computer. And like 3,000.
Fuck.
It was like a huge tailgate party event, bro. There was like, there was just the governor was there. The band, like the WVU football band was there. It was just a really random thing to start DJing at.
The hell?
But from that, a bunch of frat kids and random people were like, man, that was awesome. And I literally had no idea what I was doing. I was just playing tracks, like slamming tracks and other tracks. And for whatever reason, a couple of the people were like, oh yeah, let's get him. And I started doing like frat parties and random things, and then started really learning, how this is going while I was producing. But I was into hip hop a lot. So I was producing hip hop, I was recording hip hop, I was doing all that while I was, had this background in lots of other music, but that's just primarily what I was doing. Moved to Pittsburgh, and I didn't even do music for like 2 or 3 years. I like worked I coached a high school hockey team and like worked for a medical company. And I was just like, this
Bro,
is awesome.
Coaching sounds fun, man. I feel like, if I have a son one day and he's into sports, I definitely would like to like coach for him. It sounds like it'd be fun.
Dude, it was really cool because I was still young enough that I wasn't like that much older than these kids, and I could connect to them better than the old dad dude that never even played hockey.
Oh, dude, the music keeps you young, man.
Right. I mean, and at that point I was young. So it was like, I mean, I was like their older brother more or less, you know? So it was really cool experience to get to do that. But I just kind of missed doing music, you know, that was like ingrained in me at that point. And I just started like trying to get into the music scene in Pittsburgh. And it was tough because it's a small scene, a smaller city. Mac and Wiz just popped and left. So there was kind of like this void, and people were, you know, the venues were kind of burnt out from the whole hip hop thing with Mac and Wiz, and then all of these rappers popping up in Pittsburgh and wanting to throw shows, and, you know, there'd be problems, or they wouldn't bring people out and they would lose money and all this stuff. So it was really hard for me to kind of like figure out how to maneuver into that. So I just started like throwing my own shows outside the city. And we brought Bubba Sparks out one time, just completely random. And I DJ'd for him. And he's like, hey, man, do you want to come on tour? And at this point, I'm like, and it wasn't a big tour or anything. It was little like 500 cap rooms or whatever. But I was like, hell yeah, like, why not? You know, this is the shot. Did that. Ended up going on tour with French Montana randomly after that for a couple dates on his like initial tour.
All right, so I'm gonna pump the brakes because you're moving pretty fast because these some cool stories, man. All right, touring with Bubba Sparks. How many dates did y'all hit? All right, give me the funniest thing that a lot of people don't know about Bubba Sparks. And you with the motherfucker, we touring, you learn some things about a guy. Okay, what's some things about Bubba Sparks that we don't know, dude? Does he even like booty? Is he more of a titty guy? You know, we don't know.
He definitely does love it. He's just way more laid back of a dude than he portrays to be in his like rapping. He was just way more chill. He was just like a chill country, like just roughneck dude who's just, you know, just kind of cool, loves his family. You know what I mean? Like, isn't really, when I saw him growing up, I'm like, oh, this dude's like out here, you know? And he was just
the
like,
way you're
super
describing
chill.
him, it sounds like the Meet Virginia song, but it's instead of you're talking about Virginia, you're talking about Bubba Sparks.
Yeah. I mean,
hair is always a mess. Can't stay in it, she won't confess. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, bro, he was on a country label and like loved country and like toured with country musicians. We played maybe 25 dates. Some of them are USO shows, like 3 or 4 at military bases. Then we did like probably 8 like country music festivals. It was so wild.
Dude,
so it was,
country shows are a good fucking time, bro.
dude, it was
whole lot of
so
fighting,
wild.
fucking, and farting, dude. It's a good time, man.
That's a perfect way to describe it. It was funny though too, because it's like, you know, tons of just like country fans, and you know, they're kind of like, you can tell that it's just all country, right? But then they drink a little bit, and then all they want is hip hop, bro.
Yeah,
I'd go up and like play it. And they're like, "Yo, what are you playing country for? We just listened to country for 3 hours. Like, you're supposed to be playing rap."
They want that hip hop, dog.
Dude, it was wild.
They want that damn hip hop.
Super cool, dude. It was just like a learning experience. I had to play with a band. I never did that before. It was just a new experience, right? It was like a tour. I had never done anything like that. And then my manager at the time, who was just like my best friend, he had no idea about anything in the music industry whatsoever, randomly gets me on the French Montana tour for like the back end of it. So we did that. That kind of raised my status a little bit, if you will, around the city. And then I ended up working with the guys from Daily Bread. It's a clothing company.
Let me pump your brakes real quick, okay? For going for the Bubba Sparks 500 cap venues, what was like the caps for the French Montana?
French Montana was like the House of Blues, or what else did we do? Like the Showbox in Seattle. Like I think there were like 2,000 or 3,000 cap rooms. It was excuse my French, like his first ever tour, so it was pretty. You know, it was way different.
It's hype, yeah, it's super hype. What's the thing about French Montana that people don't know? Are you still keep in touch with this fella? I mean, is he still?
I see him. I see him. I keep in contact with like his team more. I see him, and like we, you know, if I see him, we'll say what up or whatever. Another super dope dude who's just kind of like a laid back. He's super funny. Like he's just the type of dude to just clown on everyone, and just kind of have a good time. He kind of portrays like, you know, more of like a hood gangster like image, but he's super cool. He's just chill. Never saw him like get mad or anything. He's just kind of like whatever, like
Hell
like,
yeah, that's
fuck
cool.
it. But way different. So I just kind of took that momentum. I started working with Daily Bread. I literally at that point just Mac was part of the Daily Bread brand, so I just kind of fell in with Mac and all
Mac
those
Miller?
guys. Mac Miller.
So I don't even know. I don't know what Daily Bread is, right? So like,
So Daily Bread's a clothing company that Mac, this dude named Bill, and this dude named Alex Avakian started together. And he just kind of like repped it and was like the brand rep more or less. And then Alex and Bill kind of pushed it. And I came in to like kind of be like the sales slash, guy on the ground more or less, going to shows, bringing, doing stuff like that. And helping them, get a brick and mortar, just do little things to grow the brand. But it allowed me to meet Mac. It allowed me to get to ID Labs, to meet Wiz, to meet the Taylor Gang guys. And I just ran with it from there, bro. I just started working with everybody. I went on tour with Mac a couple times. I did some stuff did tours with Taylor Gang. And then I just started randomly finding myself DJing for like Young Thug or Lil Durk or whoever, just randomly. I just kind of randomly, would fall into that. And the whole time I have Big Germ and Edan and Christo and all these big, and Sledger and these big hip hop producers all around me. So I start producing, and just kind of went from there, man. But
so were you producing this entire time, or did you start producing more once you started getting into like being around these other producers?
So I started producing when I was in audio, like in the audio program, is when I started producing, but I wasn't very good in it. I didn't take it all that seriously. And I only had like Reason and like random stuff, right? It was kind of limited still. So I was still kind of learning, and I was more on the engineer side. Like I was really good at engineering. So that was kind of like more my focus.
Yeah, that's the vibe I was getting from the story. It sounded like that was what the vibe was. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So like I just kind of, that's kind of where I felt more comfortable, but I wanted to learn. The thing though that happened is I kind of just like, I was doing all the hip hop stuff, and I have just such a background in so much other music that it just boxed me in. Right. And then I started DJing for Riff Raff, and that's kind of where everything went. Like I went on tour with Mac, I went on tour with the Taylor Gang guys. I did all this stuff. But when I did the Riff thing, I was like managing him, tour managing him. I was just kind of doing everything, right? So like,
I got some good Riff Raff stories too, and I'm sure you do too, man.
Dude, I don't even want to. I'll leave that. We could go days, but
I believe it, dude. I believe you have stories for days, because I mean, just being around that dude for a day, it was just a lot of stories, and it just felt like he liked that. Like
it's just a hard. He's
that's not an image he's portraying. He is that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he definitely. I was, worked with him personally very close.
Okay,
and it would be a lot of times too that we're just us, and he definitely isn't like that all the time.
Gotcha.
I think he's just socially just like that's, he turns it on or whatever. Still, whatever. It didn't end very well.
That's a bummer, man. I hate to hear that.
There was just a lot going on, and it was just really a hard time for me to maintain all of that. But the problem was I was still producing and got a lot of opportunities from it, but I was still just Riff Raff's DJ, right? Or I was just like kind of stuck in that box, or I was just this hip hop dude, or whatever. So there wasn't really anywhere to go from there, right? It's just kind of like, oh, you're such and such as DJ, and it's like it's cool, but it's like I'm producing these records for Skepta and like all these crazy guys, for Migos and for all these crazy people, and it didn't really hit, right? Like like I got the credits, and I made money, and I was able to do all that, but I wasn't really pushing my career. I was always kind of like pushing someone else's career.
Yep.
So that's kind of where I finally was like, okay, I need to take a step back and figure out kind of what I want. And I've built all of these relationships. I've worked with all these cool people. And it was always for somebody else, and I didn't want to be that dude who was like, you have like your homies, right? That they see you doing music. You might take one of them to a show, and then the next day they're like, oh, I'm going to start producing.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to be that guy. I felt like I built these relationships in way different ways, and I didn't want to like be some clout dude and like come off as some douche, like just trying to ride the coattails of like other people. but I had this in me. I was like, oh man, I just really want to just make music how I want to make music. I wanted to sing and do vocals like I have been. But I was just kind of scared of it. And I finally was just like, fuck it. I'm gonna go all full in at this. And throughout the whole riff raff time, I was producing heavy. Like I was like really diving in, and I was starting to learn more electronic type of, flows and how that all worked, comparable. But dude, yeah, man, I just kind of randomly just fell into a lot of things and got blessed with opportunities that I worked for, but definitely kind of just put myself in the position to accept whatever came.
Yeah. So getting into the electronic stuff, was that something you were getting into because you realized that you could do your own thing doing that? And did you always kind of enjoy that, or did you get into it? Yeah.
So when I was going to like college and stuff, and when I was in high school, so electronic was mostly just like techno and house, right? Like it was kind of like more just, there wasn't really like too much commercial electronic, and there definitely wasn't any. There was like just like real science techie like dubstep and stuff. It was like Reason dubstep, right? It wasn't like it was. And just like, and techno, and it just, I'm not going to say it wasn't good, because I like listened to it and I experimented, and I liked it in certain times, but it just wasn't my thing, right?
Yep.
So as things started to progress, I was like, I like dubstep, I like trap, I like bass, I like these things, and I really do enjoy them, but I just never really got to experience that side until I saw it start to kind of come around the curve, right? So then, dubstep started being a thing, bass started being a thing. So I was like, hey, I'm really interested in this. But at the same time, all of my opportunities were hip hop opportunities. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'm trying to kind of step out of my box, but I don't want to fuck up these bags, and these opportunities. So I'm just like, I'm here, like, and these people are letting me do this. Like, fuck it. Like, I'll do that. But yeah, I've always wanted to do like singer-songwriter stuff. I've always wanted to make electronic, and kind of like my version of electronic is more of like, I want to be able to like make some ratchet like person in the club, like, want to like twerk and go crazy, but also some wook at the festival will headbang to it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of always like, that's my type of shit. Like if I want to get hyped up, or I want to get like a crowd hyped up, I'd play that stuff at hip hop shows.
And I feel like that's kind of like where like the future might be heading towards for like hip hop in general at times, you know what I'm saying? Like where it's like, where you hear whenever like Diplo produces for somebody, or like Skrillex, it's like, it's got like that vibe where it feels like it can make a wook happy, but also like the rap folks are like, yo, this goes hard, you know what I mean?
Right. And I mean, I would love to just live in that area, just because I enjoy making music like that, but I also enjoy a lot of other music, so it's like, I'm just trying to kind of be me and make stuff that I like. And it's been weird, bro. Honestly, it's been a really weird like thing, because it's not very like, I thought EDM would be like a lot more accepting, because it's like I had to fight through the trenches, and like I'm cool with all that. I know tons of hip hop dudes. I'm like cool in this genre, right? Like I know I'm good, right? And then I go there and I'm like, oh, these people are like way nicer, like way cooler. Everybody just has such a better vibe. And
wait, with the like, EDM or with hip hop?
With EDM. Okay. And then I quickly realized like these people are like shading the shit out of me, and I'm not sure why. And then I realized that like they don't know me, right?
They don't know, man. Like I didn't know. All this shit is like brand new to me. You know what I mean? Like,
right. And I realized that, and I'm like, I'm not gonna take it personally. I'm just gonna work harder, right? And just try to figure out how I can maneuver, and I'll put the work in. It is what it is. I don't want to take my hip hop accolades and come over here and be like, oh, now I'm going to do this shit I'm not Khaled. Like, what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to do some weird shit.
Have you met him, dude, in your line of work?
Tons of times.
Has he? How is he in person, dude?
He's just like a walking meat stick. Like, he's just kind of like, no disrespect to Khaled. Like, he's cool, but he's just like the most random, just,
hey, it worked out for
He's
him.
a random dude.
It worked out very well for him, I'll say.
Yeah,
that,
I mean, hey, worked out very well for him, but he's just kind of like, he's just like a fun, he just has no worries. He's just like, kind of just walks around and does whatever he wants.
Hey, man, I would too if I made that type of money.
Yeah, especially not even to produce that. It's just
Right,
like,
dude. That's what I'm
hey,
saying.
team of producers, come over here. I'm just gonna say a couple things. And
Yeah,
we're in
exactly.
there.
Well, actually, that is something I wanted to point out. So, like, I saw those plaques you had of some of these hits that you've been a part of. Like, whenever you're doing stuff like that, are you working with teams of producers? Because that is something that like is very, very common just in production in general these days for like big artists with like multi-million dollars on the line. Potentially, they're gonna get all the
Right.
best producers in the room. Like, what is that like working with all these other people, or did you even do that?
So I was I was just landing all these placements by myself with Riff. So like I didn't even necessarily have to kind of like branch out. And when I started doing it, like the sample stuff, like the sharing sample packs with other producers and stuff, it just wasn't really there yet. And in the past couple of years, 4 years or so, it really started to come. And now bro, like when I'm making stuff, I'll just like slide stuff into folders and just like my manager will send them out, and we'll send out our homies and other artists that we work with. We'll just send them out to like Internet Money or TDE or Dreamville or whatever. And it's just literally just like folders of samples with our ats on them, just in case they use them.
When you say samples, just like one shots or like beat loops or like
just like what like
Okay.
just like loops, just like elements of loop elements of beats. So like you make a random beat, you have 15 tracks on there, and you just stem them out basically, or stem out the interesting parts or whatever.
Gotcha.
And then because especially for hip hop, like the producer, if they hear something cool, and then they'll want to add their drums and they'll want to add, you know what I mean? So they want to be part of it because they work exclusively with this artist too, right? So why wouldn't they? So it's like it's kind of been cool to see that, but I've also been able to help like put my homies on too, and just like help my friends kind of like, there's a lot of EDM guys that I've been working with that have expressed to me how much they want to do hip hop. And it's like, really? Like, cause a couple of years, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, when I started doing this, everybody kind of like, and I might be in my own head, and it wasn't like a huge, oh, we hate this dude, but like they just nobody took me seriously, right? So like
in EDM or hip hop,
to hear that now in EDM,
Gotcha.
like they were just kind of like, that's how they treated me. It might not have been how they actually felt, but that's how I felt like I was being treated. So I just kind of like, worked as hard as I could at it and just said, hey, I'm going to stick this out. And if I have to go through this for a little while, cool. But hopefully eventually I can kind of like get past that. Right. And it was cool because I still was able to get opportunities in the hip hop world and be able to do that stuff. I still tour manage and help tour manage and production manage for Earth Gang. I'm about to go to Lala to tour manage for Mick Jenkins. I'm going to do some tour manage stuff with like the Baby and some other like bigger rappers on that end. So I still kind of have, I have a studio at ID Labs in the Taylor Gang office in Pittsburgh. So I still kind of have all these outlets to be able to do that, but I still get the chance to do the stuff that I want to work on too, which is the electronic stuff, which is like the vocal stuff. And just kind of do something for myself and prove that like I can do it, but also I've been making dope music. So
yeah,
I'm not going to like discredit myself just to feel better about it,
Yeah. At the end of the day, the music can speak for its fucking self. You know what I mean? Like fuck all the brand and
Exactly.
shit, or like what other people think. If the music's fucking tight, then people are going to recognize that shit.
Right. And I mean, that's kind of what I'm going for. I'm just like stugging it out, just grinding it through and just trying to figure it out like everybody else.
That's crazy, dude. Like all that, like I said, all this is fucking new to me, and I had no idea. And it's fucking wild, man. So look, let me ask you this, dude. What's that bag like whenever you're working with like amigos or like, like whenever you're producing tracks for these folks, man? What's that like? You don't have to get into specifics, but like,
it was good. Like I did well. I mean, I still do well. And that's been cool too, because I have a lot of different, revenue streams that I've been able to kind of like grow. And so yeah, I mean, there's been some wins, nothing crazy, it's definitely not as good as everybody thinks it is, especially when labels get involved. I mean, in the electronic scene, like the labels basically in the electronic scene work very differently from the hip hop scene, because the electronic labels kind of like own everyone's music, right? Like they like a lot of the times these deals that I've been seeing from a lot of bigger artists is like the label will own a lot of the actual assets to the songs, and they might get some, they get their publishing, but if they're lucky. But a lot of the master stuff is after recoup, and the recoups seem like it's harder to recoup from streaming in electronic than it is to recoup off of like shows and branding, right?
Yep, for sure.
So, on the hip hop side, it's kind of it's the shows are great too, but the streaming revenue is good too because you have a little bit better of a deal, in my experience. And not that I'm saying that anything's wrong with that. It's just they rely heavily on recoup on electronic, where in hip hop they have bigger
audience,
bigger networks, bigger community to kind of like take from, and it's not as expensive to push it, if that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense. There's hip hop is something that like kids listen to. Adult is like everybody listens to fucking hip hop, dude. It's the biggest genre. I'd say it's probably the biggest genre on the planet. Probably pop, but like you know what I'm saying. But like they kind of at times they kind of fall into the same category these days. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
But there's definitely. Oh my god, what the fuck? But
Smash.
yeah, just fucking break my keyboard over here. Dude, but yeah, man, that is wild. So from your experience, what shows do you like more? Like, as far as like performing and just being at
electronic, bro, 100%. Like I was just literally talking to Young Buck earlier today because we're doing that Riot 10 track. And we were talking about it, and I was like, yo, in hip hop, like you can go to a big ass show, like even Rolling Loud. Like if you saw the footage of the crowd for 90% of the day, it's just a bunch of people and nobody, like people are sitting down and chilling and
really
like, they're like hanging out and they'll groove and stuff. But unless it's like a major headliner, and even the major headliners, they'll play their hits and the crowd will go crazy, but then they'll play other stuff and it's like everybody's just chilling, right? It's almost in the hip hop world for shows, like people are a little bit like they're almost like too cool to kind of like have to let loose as much as they want to. And at electronic shows, it's just like, I mean, it's just fun. Well, here's the thing too. So when you're a big hip hop artist, you're playing like an amphitheater or a stadium or an arena or something like that, right? And if you think about it, that's all seated events for the most part. Like even the amphitheater, the big first part under the thing is all seats, right?
Yeah.
That automatically takes the vibe. It makes the vibe weird, right? Comparable to like general admission type of show. But in EDM, when you bypass that, you throw a big festival outside and it's just all, you know what I mean? It's everybody together. I think the energy with everyone together and just the cultural in general with EDM is just so much more fun. Like people just want to have fun and express themselves and don't care what people think of them. They're just there to do whatever, dance and do whatever, So it's like, it's definitely different, but I love electronic more performing wise.
Bet. Yeah, I love taking like hip hop friends to like electronic shows or festivals or stuff like that. They're just like, wow, this is fun. They're always tripped out, man.
They have no idea what's going on, dude. And like, I'll never forget, I was on tour with Earth Gang and we were in, I forget where we were, like Idaho or something, or like Iowa or somewhere around there. And there was a show like across the border in a different state, and it was Bear Grylls and Lucy. And I think that I was on Warpath, so I hit like Balish and was like, hey, we have an off day. These guys have never been to an electronic show. Like, can you get us on the list? And he hit like Bear Grylls people, and they're like, yeah, of course, no problem, blah, blah. And I brought them all. And dude, I'll never forget, like two of my homies from tour were never been to an electronic show ever. They were in the middle of the crowd, just like going crazy. And I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like this is perfect. And they had a blast, bro. And then so like anytime we had days off, they're like, yo, is there any electronic? Like this is great. And then we played Okeechobee was the last festival that we played before everything got shut down. And there was, a ton of electronic artists there. So we stayed and like watched some of that. And they're like, this is crazy. So it's even seeing them go and like be like, this is dope. It's cool. It's just a different, it's not even that I like one over the other. It's just way different vibes. Yeah. But for me personally, I'm just kind of like a more hype when I'm performing. I just rather be more hype and have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I like that shit, dude. Who was your favorite people to tour with, dude? You got to pick somebody, as a hip hop DJ.
Mac. Definitely Mac. Yeah, I mean, it was just like family vibes. And now Earth Gang, honestly, because it's the same feels. It's just a family vibe. Like everybody respects each other. Everybody's there to do their job, but have fun. and you're on the road, you're a family, and sometimes more so than not, with certain people. And then a lot of the hip hop dudes touring, there's a lot of ego there and stuff too. So you kind of have to navigate that. And not only that, there's more ego with their whole entourage usually, right? So like you're dealing with these people where you're just like, bro, why are you even here? Like, why are you causing problems? Why are you here in the first place? And it's just like, you can't really say that, but you're like,
you can if you're tour managing, right? You could say shit like that if you're tour managing, right?
Yeah, but if it's the artist's best friend,
Okay,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
Or
okay,
like
word.
whatever. It's like, somebody they picked to be out there. But I have, bro. Trust me. I definitely have. Like, yo, what's good? Like, just kind of go off. Especially just respect, like the respect thing. Like, bro, don't be coming. Like, they don't understand they're losing their friend money either sometimes if they're doing dumb shit. So kind of have to be like, dude, like this isn't your show, and you're reflective of us and him. So it's a funny little line to to walk.
I can imagine
without like spazzing out on people.
Yeah, I can fucking imagine so, man. Fucking tour managing for rappers sounds like a handful, but it sounds like an experience. Sounds like it's probably gets wild. Sounds like a damn good time, dude. Who's the most wild person you think, huh? Who's the most wild person you tour for?
Riff, definitely. He's
Riff Raff.
Yeah, he's a wild boy.
I want to know because his song titles and album titles are just the best thing ever, right? They're always like Tangerine, Turquoise, fucking Turtle, or you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, Peach Panther, crazy stuff. The
exactly.
White West with the like a line of
It's like the best shit ever, dude. So does he just walk around just like spitting out these like just ridiculous things?
Yes, 100%. Literally. And he also at any given time of any given day can just spurt out like the most insane but most genius like skit of all time. He'll be like, oh, here, and then he'll get into character right there and stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, this is ridiculous.
Bro, I've heard him say some genius ass shit on songs where like he says it, I'm like, that's actually fucking hilariously like clever as fuck. You know what I mean? Like it's
yeah, there's two sides of that coin.
I'm sure.
Definitely one of them is definitely very positive and could be borderline genius.
Yeah.
There's another side too, but
I bet.
Don't we all?
Yeah. So like whenever you're working with these rappers, like producing for them, do you ever like, is there a lot of times when you're in the studio with them, or is it just you sending beats? Like what's that?
It's usually me sending stuff, but I do find myself in the studio a lot, just randomly. Especially because I seek studios out when I go, when I'm out of town. I'd rather be working than just kind of like gallivanting around spending money or just doing whatever. So I'll just seek out studios and I'll find myself in that type of thing, but it's mostly just kind of like mail outs, especially the past year and a half.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
the COVID shit. So,
dude, whenever you are like with these rappers, bro, you ever found yourself like being a little nervous? Because I mean, you got like a Young Thug, right, or like a maybe around a 21 Savage or something. That motherfucker seems terrifying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I actually DJ'd for him a couple times too. He's actually a super cool dude.
Okay, word.
But yeah, it died. Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, I've been super intimidated and like, oh man, and then the best is if you're playing beats for somebody and you're like kind of already like a little intimidated about it, and then they'll be like, all right, next one.
Oh, that's terrifying.
And your heart just keeps sinking lower and lower and lower. And you're like, oh no,
just fucking spit on me at this point.
Doesn't like him, and then oh, go back to that one. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, all right, no, I don't like. You're like, oh man, come on.
Who? If you don't want to say this, you don't have to. But who was the most intimidating artist you met at first, like rapper wise, where you were like kind of nervous because they, just being a little, I
think Drake for sure.
Drake, okay.
I was just like a fan. I was just kind of like fanboying a bit because. I fuck with you, right? I think you're a genius, and so that was a little intimidating. But I've learned to just kind of like have the mentality of like we're all people, right? It's just if they want to, and I'm not really trying to have negative energy around me in some like weird vibe shit anyway. So I just go at it like, hey, we're people, and if you want to be a douchebag, then fuck you, like I'm out.
Drake, cool dude. Is Drake?
I don't have to be. Oh, super, super duper cool. Like. Super funny, super just like he's like you see him, he basically is. He's like a cool, funny dude. And there's a lot of people like that, but then there's a lot of people that I wish I didn't meet, that I just could be fans from afar and not meet them and be like, oh, this dude sucks. Right. I think that there's definitely I mean, and I've met some electronic artists like that too. So
Oh, for sure, man.
It's whatever.
I've met a few myself, man. You get like you're a fan and you get a little let down after you meet him. You're like, son of a bitch, how did you get here?
yeah,
How did you?
yeah,
get
exactly. You're like, man, what?
Yeah, who allowed you to get this far? God damn it!
Yeah, damn it. I'm kind of salty about this. I'm not a hater, but I am.
Hell yeah,
You're just
man.
a horrible person.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, get
How
it
did you
together,
do
bro.
this?
We make electronic music, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Dude, so have you found whenever some of these rappers you're producing for, have anybody like checked out like the electronic stuff you're doing and like, hey, that's kind of dope. Like, are you seeing like rappers' interest kind of going towards there, or nah?
Yes and no. I think 50% of them don't even know, don't really have any idea what's going on with it, so they never really listen to it or hear it. So sometimes they're like, oh shit, this is dope, this is crazy, especially a lot of the newer guys who are kind of trying to progress and grow, and do something different. They're like real into it. And like the SoundCloud rappers, bro, it's like the hypest, easiest thing for them to ever do. It's basically a SoundCloud beat, but way crazier, right? So like
Way better
the
produced.
energy is the same, all that. Right. So it's just like, it's not, off some like ridiculous thing. With no mix and no math, like there's just nothing. And so there's that side, and then there's the side that, yeah, definitely there's a lot of guys that are kind of checking out this side, like working with Young Buck, who's a legend. I mean, he might not be as relevant right now as far as like the hip hop scene with like hits, but that dude's still a legend, and he's like the perfect dude. I mean, I'm sure you heard that Phase One,
Yeah.
that Phase One put out with him.
Yeah.
And I mean, I facilitated that. And it worked out. Like I sent it and I was like, hey, let me know what you think. I think he murdered this. And they were like, bro, what? This is crazy. And I was like, his tone, his delivery, his hypeness, it's just like perfect. So I've been doing that with a lot of different artists and just throwing it out there. Like, hey, my management's really deep into hip hop as well. So it kind of helps out, getting little things across too. So it's been cool. My one manager, Seth, he's out in LA, and he works with like exclusively basically with rappers. And my other manager his name's Will. He's Wiz's manager and the president of Taylor Gang. So it's like not really, it's gotten a little bit easier to get it across, and definitely been accepted with open arms way more than it was in the past. So I see both sides kind of coming towards each other. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's really cool to see. And I'm just happy to be able to not get ridiculed for it, I guess.
Hell yeah, bro! You can fucking slide that in. You're showing him a hip hop beat. He's like, "Oh, this is cool." Like, "Oh, you think that's cool? Check it out when it drops." Wah wah wah. You're like, okay, what
Bro,
the
me
fuck?
so me and Blunts were in the studio in LA, and I took him to the Kush Factory, which is like a pretty notable studio there in the hip hop world. And Ricky P, who's like a big producer for Wiz and Taylor Gang, runs sessions out of there and is like the head honcho there. And I brought Mike there, and he, Ricky was like, play some stuff, and I could tell Mike was not nervous, but he was just like, oh man, and he started playing like some like real like rudimentary like hip hop beats, like his like C folder,
Mhm.
and Ricky looked at me, he looked at Mike, and he's like, bro, I don't want to hear this. He's like, play your shit, bro. And he was like, what? And he's like, yeah, I want to hear that crazy shit, and like everybody just kind of looked around and he was like, all right, and he
Is that
started
what the
playing,
hip hop
like,
guys call it? Did they call it that crazy shit, dude? Is that the
bro,
term?
like he said something like that, yeah, like it was something like that, and endearing but still funny.
Yeah.
And he started playing like the slappers, and everybody's just like, yes, this is so different than what I'm used to, but I love it, and it's cool to see because I've been trying to kind of figure out a way, with both of it too. And it's just really, it's gratifying to see it happen. It makes me feel like I didn't just kind of waste my time looking like an idiot.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Hey, are you able to crank out hip hop beats way faster than like electronic tracks?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
How many hip hop
Yeah.
beats are you able to like crank out a day? I'm sure you've gotten pretty quick at it at this point.
I could probably I can make a beat in like 20 minutes, like a mixed, like pretty mediocre but decent hip hop track in like 20 minutes.
Right. I mean, hip hop beats, the core, it's pretty basic because you have to leave it open for a vocalist, right? And then like with electronic, that synth or that bass is the fucking vocalist. So it's like it took a lot more to fill it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and just a lot more like, when I'm in Ableton and I have a hip hop beat, it might be like 20 tracks, right? But if I'm in deep into an electronic song, it's like I have like 100 tracks, right? And it's just all just different random little shit that you might only hear for 2 seconds in the whole song, but it's this whole track, so like, you boss them and groove them and all that, but it's like they're still there, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just a lot more automation, a lot more figuring out how to make shit work instead of just playing loops of stuff, So
that's crazy.
Different, but
this whole episode's been fucking awesome. Holy shit! Like all this stuff is so cool. I had no idea you was that and rooted, dude. Who have you made? What songs have you been a part of that have been like a hit? Flex on me real quick, and all the people listening.
Honestly, a lot of the stuff was just a lot of the riff stuff. But we worked with such big artists. Like I did a song with Wiz, Gary Clark Jr., and Mozzie, which is like a crazy combination. I've had some stuff with like the Most Dope stuff and just a ton of stuff, man. Just like credits for and like back end credits. So just a lot of the riff stuff, really.
Gotcha.
And some of the Most Dope stuff, but I don't have any crazy like mega hits.
Got you. Well, dude,
by any means, I wish I did.
Whenever you're like, because you have your track where Blunts and Wiz, right?
Yep.
Once you're embedded with that whole Taylor gang and all that stuff, was it like hard to convince them to do an electronic track, or is it just like, this track's dope? Like whenever you're embedded into it like that, do rappers like give a shit, or do they just want like the money for the feature and they're good to go? What's that like whenever you're up? Because Wiz is one of those higher up guys. They typically don't see in electronic music,
His manager and like we all kind of like, he's obviously way further than me and was doing way more than me at, but we kind of still all came up together, and I've worked with them for years and years and years, and I've done tons of stuff for them and with them. So, and then Will being both of our, like part of both of our management, didn't hurt it. And that was like a way different situation than normal, because it was like a homie thing, It was really easy to get it done with their support. But there's a lot of hip hop guys that it's definitely not that easy. And the thing is too, is a lot of the hip hop guys I see too, they'll do a feature, right? But then their publishing and their masters and stuff are owned by the label that they're on, and the people go to put it out and it doesn't get cleared. It gets flagged and it gets taken down. And you're like, what the fuck? I paid you. And they're like, yeah, you paid him, but you didn't pay our legal fees. You didn't do this, you didn't do that. And so fuck you. And I've seen that happen a couple times. So I'm really, 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 I pick and choose to make sure that we're not working with people that are gonna to do that, and we bring our legit people in to be like, yo, don't even try that shit.
You're saying like paper. You're saying like not like you pay the artist for the feature, but like the label that they're on, you got to pay them too.
Never cleared it. You're right. So they're like, nah, you're like, what? Yeah. So I work with people that I have personal relationships to, or I have some sort of middle in with, and outside of that, I'm good, because I don't want to be in any of those positions.
Damn, bro. I didn't even know that shit happened, man. I mean, I don't have the money to fucking get a feature from these big ass guys anyway, so I'm all right, dog. At the moment. I
mean, and a lot of them, honestly, that I've done, didn't really cost money. It's just kind of mutual,
homie shit,
mutual stuff where it's like, hey, yeah, it's like I see you doing your thing, and it's we both want to see each other win. So it's been cool. I have like 3 or 4 Deadbeats releases coming up. I have a Wakan release, 2 Sleeveless releases, a Dim Mak release, and then a whole another year of pitching that we're about to do, that we've already got interest for. So it's been a lot different than the past. So I'm just trying to kind of keep it moving and just see where it all goes, and just make as much music as I can and work with as many artists as I can, hip hop and electronic, and just kind of bridge the gap and just have fun and make stuff that I like. So that's kind of like the main thing. It's funny though, like I went to Lost Lands a couple years ago, and everybody was cool for the most part, but like didn't acknowledge me, and not that I expected anybody to, but it's just like, I'm trying, I'm there, And I've reached out to a lot of these people and just kind of not gotten a response, and sometimes, it's like, you've seen my messages, bro. Like you've interacted on stuff that, like, clearly, and this time around, like, going to Forbidden, it was really cool, and it was unexpected and caught me off guard, because a lot of people approached me and were like, yo, what's good? Or they're like, yo, you're Afterthought, blah, blah. And I'm just like, yeah, man, it's good. And it felt good. It was cool, because I was like, okay, like, this is more how I feel on the other side. Like, these are my peers, not I'm like in a foreign land,
Yeah.
So I just want to keep that going.
Well, it's like people don't think you dope until they think you dope. You know what I'm saying? You know, like it'd be like
Right.
that, man. Like I've had the same fucking thing where it's like, it's pretty much the same thing, except not in the hip hop world. But it's just like, next time I'm around them, they're like, "Oh, you're TVBOO." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, cool. Now you get it." But think about it like this, dude. I feel like there's so many young producers in the, like, electronic world. Is it like that too? Is because I feel like a lot of times the producer world for electronic is I don't want to say oversaturated, but there's a lot of people really trying and
I mean, it's all oversaturated in any genre at this point, because it's just, the accessibility is so easy, bro. You don't even, you could buy a $200 laptop and start making stuff on Fruity Loops. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's so, and then you can go make a BeatStars and slap them up there, and you're a producer, right? So it's like, it's not nearly as tough as we had it when we had no sample packs and no, you know what I mean? It's just like, we're rewiring stuff in the back of Reason and shit, like it was a lot more difficult to do. And there definitely wasn't, like, crazy sites to be able to put your music on. There wasn't SoundCloud. Like, it was a lot different. So I got to see that part too. And it's like, shit, all right, this is easier, but
yeah.
There's also 10 million other people doing it. So I wanted to take my time with it too, and put out good stuff and come out with it and be like, like, last year sucked because of COVID, but bro, I put out a record with G-Rex and Project Pat. I put out a record with Wi-Fi's Funeral and Hydraulics and the Blunts and Wiz, Drop. And I did vocals on a Gentleman's Club track for Deadbeats. So, like, it was a pretty good year for me for the electronic stuff, but it didn't amount to anything because there was no shows and there was no, like, way for me to kind of coast off that momentum.
But it still puts you in a good position post-COVID. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I've just been working since. So, like, fuck it.
Yeah, you seem like you're producing all the fucking time, man. So it is kind of cool. Like, I see you, like, in these nice studios and stuff, dude. But, like, these electronic guys, you just in a bedroom a lot of the times, man.
Hey, man, I started that way too. I definitely started with nothing and started with the same shitty stuff in the bedroom and all that. And, like, now I want quality, and I want to work in places that are quality, but I'll still go work in the bedroom, bro. It's not, I don't care. I'll make stuff on the plane. It's not about what you have. It's about how you get it done and what the end product is.
Yeah, dude, I'll meet you in the bedroom. Okay. I'll meet you there, dude.
I mean, hey, just lots of stuff hip hop wise too. You're on tour, you record in fucking hotels and shit. It's just like, whatever, like, we make it happen wherever you're at. But I do know a lot more people now. So it's like, I know people at studios. So it's like, I could either sit here at the hotel in my headphones, or I can go to this dope ass studio. So I'm just like, the studio.
Yeah, that's fucking fun, man. That's fucking fun. Yeah, dude. So what's it like going from being the guy, like, behind the guy, right? So you were the guy behind the guy, like you're the DJ for the person, or you're just producing the back. Going from that to being, like, at an electronic show where you are the guy, the attention's just on you. What's that been like for you?
It was cool. I learned a lot. I learned a whole lot because I got to see all sides of it, and I learned a whole lot and got to see kind of, maneuver in and out and see what was going on. But like I said, it didn't really, it kind of boxed me in as well. So, everybody's there to see the other person, and it's not like that I wanted all the spotlight, but I couldn't really progress any further. It's just like, you're such and such DJ, you're such and such whatever. It's not you, you're attached to something. So it's not as freeing, and it's not as gratifying as, I love to see my friends win and people I work with win, but it's just not as gratifying as, hey, I'm working my ass off to do me too, so it's cool. It's it was what it was, and it still is what it is, and I'll still support and be there if I'm working for somebody. But I'm going hard for me too. Fuck that.
Yeah, yeah. Where's majority of your timeline right now? Is it line with on focusing on like making the EDM stuff, or are you just so embedded into hip hop that you just continue like half and half?
I hold on one second, my bad. I randomly have a pizza coming from my son, but
Oh, nice.
to just make sure it's coming because we did not receive it yet. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Oh, it arrives soon. They won't track. Fuck you, Uber
They'll just
Eats.
let you know they might have
It
it.
says it's your order may arrive soon. That's what it says. Sick. Like what? Request update. Yeah, let me get that. My bad. Sorry. What were we saying?
I was just saying, man.
I totally lost it.
I lost it too at this point, if I'm being honest, man. I forgot what I'd even asked you. You know, it was part of it, but fuck, man. What was it?
My bad. Yeah, totally.
It's all good. I was asking. Yeah. Where's majority of your timeline these days? Is it line like?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Focus on electronic. I still, like I said, I help tour manage and production manage for Earth Gang pretty heavily. So I'm going to do that with like Lollapalooza and like a bunch of festivals that they're playing. But me personally, my time that I have personally is just all towards electronic at this point right now because I'm trying to just do that and do vocals. Like I've been doing a ton of singer-songwriter stuff. Like under Ryan Haynes is like all my vocal stuff, and I produce a lot of that and do that and love it. I don't really care if it does anything crazy or blows up or doesn't. I just make it because I like it. But professionally, like I've definitely been focusing on the electronic stuff. I've been, I have like 18 collabs out right now with like some pretty bigger like mid-level guys that I'm super excited about. Deadbeats has been super fucking awesome to work with. Harrison's the man.
Harrison is.
Wakan
I had a Harrison on the show.
has been.
Yeah, Harrison's the dude.
Did you?
Yeah, I had him on the show a while back.
Fire.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's super dope, dude. Loper at Wakan's another super dope dude, and Martin, like everybody that I've worked with the labels and stuff have been super dope and like really cool. So it's been like it's motivating, man, and I just want to continue to kind of like grow and just make my mark and not come off like a douchebag. Yeah.
Dude, are the labels nicer in electronic music or hip hop? What are the label? What's the difference? You talked about like contract differences.
Electronic, because you got to think all the hip hop labels have like they're all under the umbrella of like Atlantic, Warner, or Interscope, right? Mm-hmm. So like when you get to the nitty gritty of it, you're dealing with like Atlantic, Warner, Interscope. Here on this side, it's a lot smaller labels. They're still super dope, but it's a lot more laid back. Still professional, still good, but way less like threatening. You know what I mean? Like damn. Like it's like your lawyer just pretty much told me to go fuck myself. But all right.
Yeah, and it's also cool because it's like think about it, like like a Deadbeats will do like a Dead Rocks where they sell out. The fucking Red Rocks, or Wakan Festival throws a music festival, sells out the first year. I don't know if like an Atlantic or like Interscope could be like Interscope Festival. People be like, the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, they could because they have like fucking they have like Marshmello, and then they'll have Drake, and then they'll have Taylor Swift. You know what I mean?
Okay,
like,
well, they can do it like that, but like
so,
a lot of people are going to events because they're like, yo, it's a Wakanda curated event. We're gonna go to it, or it's like a Deadbeats curated event.
Right? Interscope is Atlantic. Nobody would care. They'd be like, yeah, okay, who's on the lineup? You know what I mean? Like,
you're not going to a show and seeing everybody decked out in Interscope merch compared to like see everyone wearing
there's
like
there's not an army
shirt.
of Wooks going to an Atlantic show. It's not happening.
So that part of it, I do think is really fucking cool, man. But hell, I think there's just so much money in the hip hop game. You gotta fucking be like that at some points, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not as much as everybody. It's not as different. I just think that the streaming revenue deals set up, like I said, are just different. So you make a lot more money on that, like branding and brand. Like advertising and repping and stuff like that. It's just more, just like you said, there's a bigger audience, so it's a bit more commercial and it's a little bit easier to navigate.
Hell yeah. Well, you talked about your favorite person to tour with. Who had the craziest shows? Like whose shows were just like the fucking most wild shows?
I'd say Mac for sure. Again, he's just crazy. Travis Scott is one of the best performers I've ever seen, and I've DJ'd for him a couple times when he was first coming up, and he's a phenomenally ridiculous performer. And Earth Gang is fucking fire. When we go back on tour and stuff, and we're just like wherever, bro, I'm gonna take you to an Earth Gang show. It's so fire.
I've actually heard that their shows are fucking phenomenal. I have heard,
dude, so dope. Energy is crazy. They don't rap over their stuff. They sing live. They rap live. They have instruments. They're fire.
That is one thing that annoys the fuck out of me with a lot of rappers, when it's just like the actual song playing and they'll just chime in here and there. That's the most annoying shit.
So annoying, bro. I saw Spot 'em Got 'em do that at the BET Awards this past weekend, and the dude said like maybe 15% of his lyrics.
Bro, that was riff raff every time I saw him.
No, there was lyrics. They were coming from me.
Okay. Got you, dude. No, I'm just yeah. I mean, I think I saw the riff like 3 times, and every time it was just like
I probably DJ'd for him.
Was it? I remember I was working the damn merch booth. It was at Republic NOLA, like during Mardi Gras, like 3 years ago, and I think it was you DJing that.
It was me. It was, and me, him, and MGK were there together.
No, MGK wasn't there.
Yeah, he was there. He was in the green room.
Oh, he was just in the green room. Okay. Word.
Yeah. So we were all chilling, and there's a picture of us on like a balcony over Bourbon Street, but the streets were shut off. So me, Riff, my girl, MGK, and our like Riff's like assistant chick. Literally, it was us just walking through Mardi Gras to the Republic to play, and it was like a shit show because everybody just kept coming up to him, and I'm like rushing everybody along, like, bro, we gotta fucking get to the show.
Yeah, he's the most recognizable dude.
Dude, and then I remember MGK was going back, and he's like, I'm gonna walk back, and I'm like, bro, we just walked back and smoked a blunt, and I like walked him back to his hotel because he was doing the filming for that movie.
I know what you're talking about. I seen it. It was
whatever movie that was.
It was about they were like taking drugs that turn you to a superhero or something like that.
No. That's The Boys, but he did where he was in that band. I forget what it was. It was Tommy Lee or whatever.
It was the dirt it was the one about damn Motley Crue, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So he was there filming that, and but yeah, I DJ'd that show. That was actually crazy because we almost didn't make it to that show.
Yeah, he almost didn't make it alive off the stage, bro. I remember I watched him chug like 15 bottles of water in one song. I was like, he didn't even sing the song; he just chugged water the whole time.
Yeah, ridiculous.
That's wild. Hey, all right. So one last question for you, man. I cannot appreciate you coming on the show enough. Cannot thank you enough. I had said that sentence all types of wrong, man.
I really honestly I respect you as a producer, artist, and I appreciate you having me. For real.
Oh man, fucking, I love you.
Well, it's mutual. We can give big bro hugs.
Oh, dude, I'd hug you so hard right now, dude.
I'm gonna play some like motivational music when I see you in person and just run towards you.
I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play with arms wide. I'm gonna play fucking Creed with arms wide open.
Please do.
Yeah, it's gonna be the shit, man. Dude, so all right, so who's a rapper you have your fucking eyes on to bring into the electronic world, dude? Who you want?
That's a good question. I want to do a record with Sway Lee. I think that would be fun. That's definitely a person who I've been circling the wagon with about it. That's really it right now. I need to think about that.
Gotcha.
Maybe I'll message you with the answer to that later.
Hell yeah.
I want to focus on just making good music. So whoever fits it good, that's who I want to work with. It's not really about their name or who it is at this point. It's just I want to make good music and
what's up, buddy?
What's going on, buddy?
What's up,
I can't hear you, but
okay, yeah.
You gonna wave and say what up? Is your pizza not here yet? Oh, it's here? Oh.
Well, it's perfect.
Pizza without me.
It's perfect, man. We're right here at the end, dude. You have beautiful son, by the way. Beautiful son. What's up, brother?
Oh, thank you.
Dude, right here at the end.
He probably won't dip.
Anything else you want the people to know before we get out of here, man? Anything? What's next for DJ Afterthought, dude?
Hold on, buddy. Not much, man. I think we covered a lot. I just like I said, I just appreciate you being able to give me a little bit of a platform to kind of, let people know about me and what I'm doing and what I've been doing.
Oh, bro, this is.
But yeah, I have all those.
This has been fun, man. I had no idea about all this shit. That's fucking killer, man. It's you sound like
Yeah, man, and I feel like I haven't really had a chance to kind of let people know who I am on this side. So I think it's it's super cool to have a platform to do that. But yeah, man, I just have all these releases coming up, and I'm just going to continue to kind of keep working and see what I can do.
hell yeah, dude. It's a good thing that you got your name when you did, because if you would have got your name 2 years ago, it would have been Afterthought. You know what I'm saying?
I know everybody says it. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Thought, or like you should do it. You should do like a little web series, Thought Hour with Afterthought. You know what I'm saying? Real thought hours. You know what I mean?
On my YouTube, we do tour stories, and they're just called Adventures of Afterthought. I have a whole literal season of like 12 tour stories on my YouTube, but it's just Adventures with Afterthought, and I just basically just tell ridiculous stories.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna have to go check that out. I'm sure you have fucking thousands with the people you've been around, dude. That sounds fun. I'm definitely gonna go check those out. That sounds like a good time.
Hell yeah, please do.
Well, dude, Ryan, it's been fucking nice meeting you, dude. Really looking forward to seeing everything you got coming up. You got a fan in me. I can't wait till we can see each other in person so we can just really give each other that hug. And once again, dude, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. It's been a lot of fun today.
Thank you, man. Seriously, genuinely, really appreciate it. So, yeah, I look forward to it too.
All right. Peace out, brother.
Cool, man. See you later.
And that was Mr. DJ Afterthought. Fucking interesting ass guy, dude. Crazy ass career. I had no idea going to this show, going into this episode that, he'd been working with them folks. Kind of wild, bro. It's kind of wild. I hope I get to work with folk like that one day. I really do. But anyway, I really appreciate y'all listening to this week's episode of Talks with Taboo. Y'all be on the lookout. I got a lot of new merch coming in any day now. We're going to announce that. It's great merch. Best merch you've ever seen in your life. Get it. Buy it. Love it. I love y'all. Be good. Take care of each other. If you want. Peace.